Hi everyone. What we're going to look at today is a review of the different types of graphs that we have for our quiz on Thursday. So the first one that we're going to look at is box and whisker plot. So if we look at this picture first, kind of just a little review of it, we have the different things that make up the box and whisker plot. So the first dot here that we see, that's our minimum value. And then we have that lower quartile, that median, which is the middle number, the upper quartile, and then the max, that highest number. Each piece of that data is going to make up 25%. So if we look at that first example, we'll do some together and then have you try some on your own. So here we have the test scores as a percentage for this 9th period. So here we notice that 38 is that min, 72 is that lower quartile, 88 makes up that medium, 96 is that upper quartile, and 102 is the max. So if we answer these questions, what was the highest score on the test? Well, we just said that would be 102. What percent of the class scored above a 72? Remember that each piece is making up 25%. So 25 plus 25 plus 25 is going to get me 75%. What was the median score on the test? Well, that median score is that middle number. That middle spot right there is going to get me 88. And what percent of the class scored between 88 and 96? We talked about how each part is made up of 25%. So here we get 25%. So we're going to do another kind of page of examples, which I'm going to have you try on your own, and we'll check as we go along. So in this next set of examples, we have height in inches. Here we have that minimum value of 58, the lower quartile at 60, the median at 62, the upper quartile at 64, and that max value at 66. So let's try some of these problems. So on problem number 1, what is the median? Hopefully you got an answer of 62. What is the lower quartile? Hopefully you got an answer of 60. What is the upper quartile? The answer to that is 64. What is the min value? That'd be 58. What is the max value? That would be 66. We didn't really talk about it too much and we don't need to know, but the above 5 values are called the 5-number summary. What is the range of the data? So remember, the range means you take the max minus the min. So if we did 66 minus 58, we would get a range of 8. What percentage of the data is below the upper quartile? So below the upper quartile, 25, 25, 25. Hopefully we got an answer of 75%. What percentage of the data is located between the lower quartile and the median? So between the lower quartile and the median, just one kind of spot of the data. So that'd be 25%. What percentage of the data is above the median? So above the median, we should get 50%. And then what percentage of the data is below the lower quartile? That would just be 25%. So hopefully this answered any questions that we might have about box and whisker. Obviously on the Canvas quiz, I can't ask you to make one. So it's going to just kind of be answering questions like this. The second topic that we looked at was scatter plots. And the main thing we want to look over for scatter plots is kind of that correlation. So the correlation is that relationship between two sets of data. There's 3 different types. We have a positive correlation. As that x increases, so does the y. We have the negative correlation. As x is increasing, that y value is decreasing, and no correlation. There's nothing that we can kind of see as a relationship between the two x and the y. So if we look at this practice problems, classify the scatter plots as having positive, negative, or no correlation. In practice problem number 1, hopefully we can see that there is no correlation. In practice problem number 2, we can see that there's negative correlation. And in practice problem number 3, there was positive correlation. Now, the next set of practice problems that go with this is kind of given a scenario, you have to tell me what kind of correlation is happening. And I think there's 2 like that on the quiz. So in practice problem number 8, the number of hours a person has driven and the number of miles driven. So what I like to do is kind of think the number of hours someone drives, that's increasing. And as they're increasing, so is the miles. So since they're both increasing, it's going to be a positive correlation. the number of siblings a student has, and the grade they have in math class. Nothing is correlating that way, so it's none. And number 10, the age of a car and the value of the car. So as the age of the car goes up, the value of the car goes down. So because we have going up and the Y values are going down, we have that negative correlation. In practice problem number 11, the number of weeks a CD has been out and the total sales. So hopefully that the increase, the number of weeks going up, hopefully the total number of sales would also go up. So we would say this would be positive. The number of years a person went to school and their income. So hopefully you would say the more that you go to school, the more your income would increase. So we would say a positive correlation. Obviously not always true. The number of songs downloaded on your iPad and the number of memory available. So the more songs you download, the less memory you have. So we would have a negative correlation. Two more. The amount of time spent on the computer instant messaging your friends and the number of computers in your house. There's no correlation between that. And the age of your house and the number of people living in the house. Once again, no correlation between those set of data. So hopefully we don't have any questions about scatter plots. If we do, please reach out. The next topic that we looked at was a histogram. So a histogram is that bar graph that shows the frequency and the data values and intervals over the same size, so they're all like the same width. The height of the bar represents the frequency of those values. So let's try some practice problems with histogram. Once again, I can't really ask you to draw any of these graphs, so it's more just answering questions based on the graph or information that I give you. So here we have the number of words on the X and the number of books on the Y. So how many books have words in the 9,000s? So all we would do is how many books in the 9,000s, and we would look over and we would say 5. How many total books did I get information on? So we're just adding 2 plus 6 plus 2 plus 7 plus 6 plus 5 plus 2, and hopefully that should get me a total of 30 when I did that before. Now we know there's a total of 30 books. So what percentage of books have words in the 5,000s? So we know that there's a total of 6 books in the 5,000s over the 30 that we know. That's going to get me 20%. And how many books have at least 7,000 words? So if we add up everything there, that should give us a total of 20. So hopefully not too bad on histograms. The last thing that we looked at was our stem and leaf. So once again, for the stem and leaf, the first digit is in that stem part, and the back number is in the leaf, and then here, so this would be the number 15, this would be the number 16, that last one would be 41. So that's how we place our stem and our leaf. So let's try some practice problems with stem and leaf. So what is the mode of this data? Remember, mode is the number that occurs the most. So here we can see that the number that occurs the most is 61. There will be a matching section on that kind of mean, median, mode, range, outlier. Just kind of have those an idea of what those mean. What was the hottest day? Well, that would be our max value of 81. What was the coldest day? That would be our lowest value of 58. What is the range of this data? Remember, range is meaning max minus min. So 81 minus 58, which would get me 23. And then what was that upper extreme? Same idea. What's that max number? So 81. So hopefully there's no questions on stem and leaf. If there is anything that kind of pops up, please email me or reach out to me so we can go over any questions before our quiz on Thursday.